Chiripso, that means greetings in Khmer. Um, it's a great question. I think it definitely hits and depends on who the individual you're asking is. But I can tell you that in the beginning of this whole process, um, I found it a bit challenging because of raising a couple of kids under 3 years old. And also, my wife and I are both executive directors of nonprofits in our own perspectives. And so, with that workload and the family load, I think it was trying to figure out what would be a good schedule for the both of us to productively get our work done, but also be able to be present with our daughters at the same time. And so, in the beginning, we were kind of doing it by ear and kind of like, let's just sit over you with the girls at 2 hours right now, and then I'll do work, and then vice versa. But we realized that having a set schedule works better for us. And I also can say too that I've heard from some parents in the past that they would love to spend more time with their kids, and I think that this situation is allowing that to happen. My first daughter, when she was in daycare, I kind of missed when she was learning how to sit, learning how to walk, learning how to crawl and stuff. And with my second daughter now, who just turned 7 months, I'm able to see all of that and live and kind of capturing it at the same time. So it's been a blessing to be with my family in that way, and also that it's also has its own challenges. And so that's the best way that I can describe how we're managing this time. So. Well, first of all, I want to make sure that when I'm talking about the Cambodian community, it's not all of the community, because we serve a specific part of the Cambodian community. Based on our database, we serve 80% low income. 90% low income, and 80% is Cambodian American, and 20% other. And so we are definitely helping the individuals and families that need it the most. But from that conversation with individuals from those families and those folks in the community, I think one major challenge that we have right now is that CMAA is very much a direct service organization, meaning that if you need some support or help in terms of whatever it is, you can either call us or come directly to our office and talk to one of our staff. Unfortunately, that is not the case right now, and so that is quite a challenge, because our staff members are not only looked at as people that care about them, but also people that are able to listen to them, able to give them space for them to share all kinds of concerns. We're not necessarily certified mental health workers, but we are human, and we do the best we can to listen to what people have to say. And so that interaction is not there. And so that's a challenge that we have. And then also technology challenge as well. I know that some organizations and communities have the benefit to be able to connect to internet, have technology to do that. And so some community members we work with don't have that access at all. And only phone is the kind of access they have, and knowledge of the phone is the access they have. And so how do we, as an organization, focus on taking everything that we provide in person and make it virtual? And so that's been a challenge for us. I do know that we have a few exciting things that are happening in the pipeline that we're excited to announce very soon. But I do know that those are a couple of challenges we have. I also know, connected to that technology challenge, is that some family members, parents in particular, that are working in manufacturing jobs that are essential employment opportunities. And so, I think for them, they relied a lot on the school system. They relied a lot on daycare. And when that is not in place anymore, who do you have to help watch your children while they're home? Who do you have to help make sure that your children are logging in and learning everything from the local public school system? Those are some of the challenges that we're hearing. And I think that us as an organization are doing the best we can to make sure we try to close those gaps, but also being very factual and very informative, and sharing as much information as possible, and being as transparent as possible. So. Out of the database that we've been calling, 46% of the people we talk to have been unemployed, and so that's a really huge concern, just because some of the people we work with, they depend on that check a lot, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly income that's coming in. And so that's a big challenge for them. And how do we as an organization try to make sure they provide as many services as possible, products or essential items as possible. And so we've been able to partner up with other organizations, but also been able to work with wonderful and incredible foundations that's been able to give us some resources to provide some of these items and materials to the community. We know we can't cover everything that the community members are asking for, but we're doing the best we can. We know that our expertise is in translation and interpretation. So if someone needs help in terms of applying for unemployment, we are available on our phone line to help make that call and to help fill out that application. If you need more information about the pandemic unemployment information, that's something that we can you can call us and we can help kind of guide you as well. So there are things that we're doing to make sure that the community members are getting the help that they need. But we do know, and this is being honest, we do know that we can't help every single person and we can't help every single issue. But what's really important is that we're doing the best we can, and that we stay positive, we stay focused, and that we're open and transparent about all the work that we're doing. So. I think what's a big concern right now, and I think this is a national issue too, is housing and a place for people to live. And so there's a lot of folks that are going through rental payment issues. There's a lot of individuals that are not able to pay their bills and not able to kind of like fund a place for them to have a roof over their head, because for individuals that work in the social sector, we know that having a strong foundation for yourself, whether it's a home, whether it's a family, whether it's food and water, I think those are the things that you really need to make sure that you live a life that you want to live. And so if people are having trouble maintaining and holding on to homes or the apartments, I think that's a huge concern. I think that the homeless population could rise. I think that we're going to find more people couch surfing. We're going to find more people kind of living together, lots of members in small apartments, and so that can definitely rise and change. And so, how do we fix that? I don't know. I'm not the person to have the answer for all that, but I do know that whatever the government comes out with, we make sure that we take that information and we share it to the community as soon as possible, and make sure that they understand as much as possible on how it all works. And so. Housing is a huge issue. Next, I say would be food insecurity. Food is definitely something that is huge. And I know that there's a saying where beggars are not choosers. But one challenge that we ran into was when we were able to get some food supplies from partners. I think it's really difficult to provide food where community members aren't kind of accustomed to, meaning that if they're not used to making food with potatoes or pasta or whatever it is, I think that we gotta be able to find resources to get food that's culturally appropriate, because certain cultures eat certain foods and certain cultures don't. And so I think we've been pretty blessed to be able to work with foundations and have resources to provide food that's culturally appropriate to the community that we're helping. So I think food is a big concern as well. And also the education of young people. The education of young people is a very sensitive topic and matter right now, just because we know that people that are affected are mostly Black and brown folks in the community. And how do we like make sure that our community members, our fellow brothers and sisters, are able to get access to education and to get access to technology and things like that. And so there are a bunch of concerns that are taking place right now, but I think we need to stay focused and move forward. So and offer and do the best we can. Well, thank you for that. That's a great question. And so what's nice about social justice and social work is that and being able to be in the position that we are in terms of running an organization is that you're able to hire amazing people from the community. I think it's really important to focus a lot on people that may have gone through some of the issues that we're going through now, and that have struggled through it and lived through it and now is able to give back. It's really important to find people that that are not in this work just for the pay. And it's really important to find people that will go above and beyond with their using their own natural energy. And so, I've been really blessed and honored to have the team that I have, because every single one, um, every single person in my team right now goes way above and beyond. They go way above what they're expected to do, and what kind of hats they're wearing. Um, I think it's kind of like, I think it's kind of an issue when I go home at like 5:30 and then my staff is still there and they want to be there. They're like, no, I don't want to go home yet. I enjoy being here. I want to continue to do the work that I'm doing. And so, yes, I think having a team that really, that truly works from their heart and their soul to help other people is really important. We have a small team. We don't have a 10, 15, 20 member team. And so it's kind of like a lot easier to manage in that way. But what I can say is that they're, with that energy and passion that they have to help the community, they are thinking outside of the box. They're thinking creative ways of making sure information is getting out there. People are getting essential food and supplies, things like that. I know that you said CMA is open. Yes, CMA, our staff is working every single day. Our office is technically not open, only to community members that come and pick up supplies and things like that. We do have an emergency phone line, which we created using Google Voice, 978-656-1127. You can call anytime and ask for any kind of help you need. We will make sure you get the right person for you. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to have those kind of individuals as part of your team, and let them run the course. Don't, you as an ED do not have to make every decision, because they are working directly with the community members, so they know what is best for the community members. My job as an executive director is to make sure that the staff is happy, the staff gets everything they need, and that we are mission driven, and that we are getting money and resources, and we're working with partners. And so, so my job is to make sure that we are getting the resources we need for the staff members to make the decisions they have to make. Because again, if I go down to, if I micromanage my staff, we're not going to get things done, because people will work with their heart and they will make the best decisions from that. I learned how to use Zoom very well. I learned how to have the right background, have the right setting, have the right lighting, all those things. But put all jokes aside, I think, with many people that are in this similar situation, working from home and having life partners, I think this is the most time we've spent with our life partners together. I have to tell you, I think since my wife and I got married, I think this is like the most time we spent with each other, like full days, and so this is like the longest vacation we've ever had, but working and taking care of our kids at the same time. So, with that being said, I think you learn a lot from the people you live with. You learn a lot from, who you fell in love with and who you married, or choose to live with, And so I think that's something that I'm learning a lot. I used to play a lot of guitar when I was a little younger, and so kind of being able to pick that back up and playing that with my daughters and having them listen. But sometimes my 2-year-old is like, "Dad, stop playing. You don't need to play anymore. I don't want to hear you play that music." But then you have a 7-month-old girl that's like crawling to me and kind of wanting to touch the guitar and loving the tunes and sounds that it's emitting from it. Um, and to everyone watching, I also have a 19-year-old daughter, and she has an amazing voice. I don't. So she's the one that tells me to stop singing completely. Don't sing. Just play the guitar. Don't sing at all. All right. So yeah, and so picking up guitar is something that I've been able to can kind of get back into. But also technology-wise too. And besides Zoom, I've learned how to record videos for CMAA and then broadcast it live using a software, OB Studio. And so things like that, we're kind of like learning as we're going. And, and I think that like these things exist for a while, we're taking advantage of it now. And I know that some of these things that we're learning right now can be a advantage for the organization moving forward post-pandemic. So. I think humans weren't allowed to touch each other, whether we're shaking hands, whether we're hugging, whether in close proximity. I think being able to really be grateful for that. The human touch and the human body and the human feeling and our souls connecting is really, it's really powerful. And I think that with this whole situation right now, a lot of that's being, being put aside and being held. And really, just like when you see someone, when you're able to leave your house, when you're able to be close with other people, really, really take full advantage of that and really be present with them. Because we live in a time where things are like fast paced. We're very busy taking care of multiple things, having multiple projects, line items, and things like that. And I think that the human body and the human soul and capacity was meant to be really present with each other. And so really taking advantage of that when this is over, I think this is something that I would like to do myself and practice myself as well. My love for my children has always been there, but my love for my children has like dramatically, amplified by so many numbers just because I'm with them every day for the last few months, and you don't realize how powerful we are as human beings because as in particular being parents, because when you have this much time with your children and you're seeing them develop day by day, it's really it's a really great feeling to see. You always tell your friends and your family members that I can see myself. I can see myself in my children. I can see features. I can see mannerisms. I can see personalities. But those things happen sometimes when you're not around, and they develop that. But when you're with them all the time and you see this happen in the last 2 months, you see that development is like it's so powerful. And so yeah, I think the power of being human is really important. And I think that it leads to the conversation of the hate that's been developing for Asian Americans. I think that we all, and this is something that I've been like kind of thinking about a lot lately, just because of all of the stuff that's been happening very recently with the Black and Brown communities and with Asian folks as well. And so I think we all weren't born to hate, right? We all were born pure, innocent, but we were taught to hate. And it doesn't mean that it's too late for you to teach yourself to not hate anymore. And so I think it's really important that we look past each other's facade, and know that some people have gone through a lot. Some people have gone through situations where they are the way they are today. But how are we able to reconnect with ourselves and try to reconnect with ourselves first, and then be able to do that same reconnection with the other people and other people you're interacting with, and how they try to help alleviate as much of that misinformation and hate as much as possible, starting with yourself and then spreading the energy towards other people. And so yeah, I don't know, I think it's really important that we need to practice not hating each other. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I know a lot of us had some sort of kind of like thing towards other people, and I think that we need to check ourselves, and right now is the time that we're seeing a lot of that happening. So I think it's really important that we, within our own Asian American community, are not spreading hate towards each other as well. And so when we're in a situation where a hateful message or hateful stare or hateful occurrence is happening, and says the Chinese virus, I think it's really hurtful to the Chinese community when you're saying, I'm not Chinese, so I'm not the one with the virus. And so I think when you make that kind of statement, you're putting yourself, you're creating a gap within the own Asian American community as well. And so we all know that viruses are not connected to a race, are not connected to, viruses aren't racist. Viruses just don't pick and choose people. It affects everybody, and so I think it's really important that we need to take a look at ourselves first and make sure that we are not practicing any of that racism ourselves. And then when we do see something like that happen, and in the own comfort of your skin, if you want to be able to approach it and say something about it, then you should, and I feel like it's also an opportunity for you to build a relationship or have a conversation with someone that feels that way. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, we're not all born to hate. We were taught to hate. And I feel like if more one-on-one and individual conversations take place where you build a deep relationship with people that may have opposite views of you, respect will eventually take place. Respect for each other will eventually take place, and that can be the first step to a bigger change. And so, trying to have as many individual conversations as possible, help spread the word that this is an issue in the Asian community, but also any community, right? It's not just an Asian virus anymore. I mean, there are names and instances in the past where people were blaming flus on certain groups of people, and I think that it came from a history of knowledge where fear, fear allows you to put a title on certain things. And so if we're able to pull back from that and make sure and look at this for what it is, I think that is a virus. I think that will help some of the tension. But again, it's all to ourselves. It's all individualistic in how we want to be able to help spread the word and help fight it ourselves, that racism. And so I encourage people to try it out if you haven't yet. It feels good. Yeah, so be hopeful, right? Be hopeful. Know that there's individuals and groups and coalitions out there doing the best they can, helping as many people as they can, and try to be as positive as possible. I mean, I feel like if you're able to give and provide something, do it in a way where it will make you it will help as many people as possible. Give when you can, and if you can't give, that's okay. Never feel guilty about not being able to help the community as well. I think that's something that's really important. That if you're not able to help the community, don't feel guilty about it. That's okay. You shouldn't feel bad about not being able to help because you can't. Because some people are in the position to help, and they will. And also everyone is different as well. And so I think people will help in their own ways. And so be hopeful. Know that we're all gonna get through this together. That's the common message that's from everybody that we hear, and it's really true. We're all gonna get through this together because it's not just a Lowell issue. It's not just a Massachusetts issue. Not just a United States issue. It's a whole world issue. The whole world is going through this issue, and so we're gonna get through this together. Luckily, we live in a time where technology helps us spread the word as much as possible. Hopefully technology will help us spread the communication, the help of having the stay at home, rules and policies take. But when this happened 50, 60 years ago, the internet didn't exist, Facebook didn't exist, social media didn't exist. How were people telling each other? And so we live in a time where we're able to tell each other as quickly as possible. And so that's the way to go. Is to practice being safe. Do it for not just yourself but everybody around you. We all know that this virus really affects people with weaker immune systems and are older, and so it's for the whole community, not just yourself. And so be hopeful, be helpful, and move forward with positivity. Through this whole conversation, the theme was love, hope, and humanity, right? And right now, all we're asking is for us to be safe and take care of ourselves and the people around us. If I feel not my job is not my message here is not to make you feel guilty. My message here is to be honest and transparent and say that this is a very serious issue that is affecting a lot of people. It's affected my family. I've known people that passed away, and I've known a few people that passed away, and that's connected to me personally, and because of this issue. And many people have known people that pass away because of this issue. And don't wait till it hits you personally to make that change yourself. It's a small gesture. Be safe, wear a mask, keep yourself distant from people that you don't normally be around, and you're gonna help save a lot of lives. You're gonna help save so many people's lives because they're all dependent on us. The world depends on each and every single one of us, and we all have to be collectively together to make sure that we are able to go back to the way we were before, and that's taking care of each other and moving forward and progressing as human beings. So, what motivates me? It's a really it's a great question, and I think I think many things, right? And so Um, I think I've had the so not for people that are watching. I'm a child of a genocide survivor. So I am a refugee. I came to this country at a very young age, but I didn't experience the war that my parents did, and in particular my mother. And so I've been honored and blessed to be helped by very caring and thoughtful people. Whether we were sponsored to live in Chicago, whether we were able to work with CMAA when we first arrived to Lowell, whether I was helped by CMAA when I needed a job and kind of got introduced to the nonprofit world and sector. And so people and neighborhoods and communities were there when not just me, but many people in our community when needed help with. And so it's very personal for me to be in this kind of field, this work, just because it makes me feel that like because I have a chance, being able to give other people a chance is really important. Really, really important to me. I love it when a young person, when they're 16 years old, are registering to vote for the first time, knowing that they can't vote till they're 18. We need to change that. Why would they wait 2 years to vote if they, once they register? Anyways, but watching a young person registering to vote, and then voting at 18, and then becoming a voice for their community, and then doing nonprofit work, watching an elder that survived a genocide being able to go to a state house and speak up for a policy that they support, being able to working with neighborhood leaders that are able to talk about the different issues that are happening in their community, and helping them build that voice, or giving a space to do that, or being with an organization that's able to get people to help people live step by step at a time out of poverty into a position where they're able to help a much more sustaining life. And so there are many reasons that motivates me to do this work. But what I do know is that it all encompasses a community that is welcoming and open to people that are here, and that will help and provide and give an opportunity for people to be their best. And so if I can be in any kind of organization or any kind of situation to solve those kind of issues, or to be a part of that movement, then I'm happy where I'm at. And just right now I'm at CMAA. Who knows where I'll be in 10 years, So as long as I'm doing the same work.